Hey, you picky bards and bardettes. Welcome back to iCast Vicious Mockery. I'm Austin.
And I'm Matt.
And today we were just talking about this. I don't like Mexican food. In a general way. But I don't know, I know why. I know why, but I don't know why. I can't explain why, what is up with me that I don't like it. But I can identify exactly what it is. Yeah. I just don't know what causes it.
Yeah, you said it tastes the same as when you throw up.
Yes. It tastes the same distinctly as my own vomit. Yeah, on the way up, there's that hot, gross feeling.
Yeah.
But also a certain distinct flavor to it, for lack of better word. And it is mirrored in a lot of especially crappy Mexican food. Maybe that's. I mean, let's be real with it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying that I don't like good, Mexican food, because, I mean, I've had some that's really quite good.
What would you consider to be crappy Mexican food?
Any in town.
Chains in particular, or anything like that.
Yeah, pretty much. Stuff that I've made myself using recipes is fine, but I'm making it myself. Stuff that Anna's made using recipes is fine. But and then I've gone to some nicer Mexican restaurants out of town. I don't know if there are
really
nice ones here.
Nice ones?
Because I don't really yeah.
It's still a chain, but the nicest one that we have, I think, is Mad Mex.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I was there once. I don't know what I had, but I think it was fine.
Colin and Carly really like it there, so I've been there quite a few times because they like to go there. So I end up going there too. I really do like Mexican food quite a bit. I like it a lot, but I think that what you're describing it could potentially be a similar reason as to why you don't like chocolate. Because American chocolate, a lot of foreign people, not from America, from Europe and stuff, they say that American chocolate tastes like barf. Because American chocolate, American milk chocolate, has butyric acid in it, which is stomach acid.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the process of making it, that's what makes it milk chocolate. They use powdered milk in the production of milk chocolate, and when they do it, particularly Hershey's, in particular Hershey's. Next time you eat a piece of Hershey's, well, you won't, but the next time the audience eats a Hershey's chocolate, just sit there and think about how it tastes really, and you might notice that it does taste a little bit like you just threw up.
Interesting.
Because it does. It does. I mean, if you pay attention to it, it does. But if you grew up eating it,
then it's fine.
Then it's fine because it just tastes like chocolate to you.
Yeah. But if you were raised in a culture where that's not the kind of chocolate,
right?
Eating that would be a pretty startling change. I would imagine.
Yeah. You'd be like, oh, why does this taste like? Yeah. Exactly. So, it's fascinating. So I wonder. I mean, I don't think there's butyric acid in a Mexican.
No, but there's probably. It's got to come down to an ingredient or a mixture of ingredients that happen to taste like that, and it's my particular
It's
my particular bile, or whatever.
It's really specific to you, I think. Yeah, because we talked about the possibility that it was cilantro. Because a lot of people really don't like cilantro.
Yeah, but I do like cilantro.
But you do like cilantro. I do too. I don't have that cursed.
The gene that makes it taste like soap.
Taste like soap or something. Yeah. My mom has it though, I think.
Oh.
Because she has told me that she thinks that Mexican food tastes like soap. And I'm like, well, I know what that is. I can't help you, but I know what's happening. Anyway, I like Mexican food.
Okay. Well,
I like
that's we got 50% on this show for liking. I can't say I don't like Mexican food, But what I would say is I don't go out of my way to try more because
Yeah.
I've had just not great experiences in the past, you know? But like if you gave me Mexican food, I wouldn't be like, oh no, I'd be like, all right, sure.
You know, I would say that about
and there are things where I'd be like, oh no, I can't. But
Mediterranean or and also potentially like Middle Eastern cuisine. I've had it a couple of times and I've never liked anything that I've had.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say the same thing. I won't go out of my way to try
We've
it.
talked about this on the show, but that's an interesting thing actually. When you go to a restaurant, if you like the restaurant, it is most likely that your favorite thing on the menu is the first thing that you got.
Oh, I don't think we talked about this on the show, but that makes sense. Yeah, maybe.
Because if you have other choices and you go and get something that you didn't like, then you don't come back. I mean, you might come back.
Yeah.
So there is a chance, but more often than not, your favorite item will be the first one that you tried at a restaurant.
You know what? I will say that I have had the experience where I went somewhere, it was not good, and I actively have never gone back.
Yeah.
Like if somebody brings it up, I'll be like, no, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
Would it be like bad to say where it is? Maybe.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. We won't go there on this unless it's closed or something, in which case that's fine.
No, it's a chain, so I won't.
Oh, it's a chain?
Yeah, I won't.
How big? Big chain?
I don't know.
Or like,
I don't know. Do they have it other places?
Mm-hmm.
It starts with B, and it's 2 words, and it's a dude's name. B-E. Alex and Danielle used to go there a lot, or like.
Bob Evans. Okay, yeah, that's fine. You can say you don't like Bob Evans.
Yeah, I hate Bob Evans. There was this one time. The reason is because I went there once and I got pancakes, and the center of the pancakes was not only still like raw, like dripping, like batter, but also the batter wasn't fully mixed, which you're supposed to do with pancakes. I've since discovered, like you're actually not supposed to get it.
It's supposed to be like a little lumpy.
A little lumpy, yeah.
Yeah.
But like I would get mouthfuls of powder too, and batter. Like it just wasn't cooked all the way. And I've never gone back. I was like a teenager, I think.
Yeah.
Never gone back.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I've gone there, and it was just not like spectacular. It was like, all right, sure.
There was a local place. There's a local place by the one bowling alley, I'll say, next to the martial arts place that was there.
Oh, okay.
In that plaza, you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
That's a local place, so I won't say what it's called. But that wasn't even the food. We went there once, and it wasn't busy, but we had a bunch of people. I guess it was a big party, but we ordered food, and it took just an obscene amount of time, like 45 minutes to an hour to get the food. And then every single person's order was wrong.
Impressive.
In some way. Like nobody got what they ordered. Yeah. Not a single person at the table got what they ordered. Yeah, it was insane. Some people didn't get anything at all. Even. They
how do you like,
yeah.
I guess what must have happened is they must have forgotten what people ordered and stuff.
Yeah.
And rather than going back and being like, hey, I forgot what you ordered, they must have just been like, they won't notice.
Oh, we noticed. Yeah. And so I've never been back to that place either. And the food, the food was whatever, but the service was so bad that like, no, I'm not going back to a place like that. I think they're still open. I don't know. I don't actually know for sure.
I actually don't know what place you're talking about right now.
You still don't?
Because I couldn't piece it together.
There's like the appliance place, and then it was that one, and then a martial arts like a small martial arts place.
I know where you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the bowling alley's down the street. I know the bowling alley's down the street because it was after we went bowling. We went bowling, and then we went to that place.
Yeah. Man, somebody must have been tired on duty or drunk.
Possibly.
They could have just been drinking.
Yeah, they might have been drinking on the job. I don't know.
That doesn't make it not bad service.
Right.
It just explains the bad
service. It explains why it was bad service.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, surprise.
Wait, no, we did that last
We're going
episode.
to talk about,
right.
But I thought we decided that was a good.
It's a good one.
Segue.
I don't know if it's going to be our thing or not. We'll see.
Okay. We'll put it. I'll put it in my back pocket for another
Oh
time.
man, that thumbnail last week. That's my proudest work so far.
Yeah, man.
Because to me, it looks the most like a YouTube thumbnail.
Yeah, it's so good. I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was
like, this looks like a real YouTube video for a second here. People are going to think we know what we're doing if they see this.
People are going to think.
I hope they don't see it because we don't know what we're doing.
We don't know what we're doing yet. Well, nobody does.
No, I don't. I actually don't hope that people don't see it. That's the other thing too. Like,
I love when people watch your videos.
Yeah. Well, it's like I don't like care too much about the view. I personally mess around with the view numbers and stuff all the time, just for fun to see what it looks like in the analytics thing on YouTube.
Right. Yeah. When we analyze it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like, so I don't care if we have like more people watching or whatever. But if they do, I don't feel bad about the show at this point. I think if they watched episode 1, I'd be like, we can do better than that now.
Yeah, I feel.
But we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there for sure. I'd love it if a lot of people watched our show. If our show became popular, I'd be excited about it. I think. Personally.
I'd be excited for them.
Yeah, because they get to experience it. That's what I mean.
And they get to buy all our merch.
Which we will have if a lot of people watch it.
Dude, I'm ready for that merch.
I
need those shirts.
I want to get like a set too. Wouldn't that be cool? Have a set.
Oh yeah, building a. Okay, so listen. This is what. Yeah. Let's talk about a nerd thing of mine.
Sure.
So what I think is that you should draw your experiences from many places for D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I've been. Oh, I have a book recommendation too. I forgot to tell you that.
Okay,
I didn't bring the book.
Well, that's fine.
But I'll just put it up on screen or something.
About it.
Yeah, it is. I guess an audio medium technically. This is a podcast.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know what I was. Oh, so yeah, I want to get a camera that allows me to do bokeh. Do you know what bokeh is?
I have no clue what that is.
I don't even know if you could do it very well in video, but when you see in a photograph the like lights in the background being blurred in a crazy way, that's bokeh.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Actually, it might be pronounced bokeh.
Bokeh?
But it's B-O-K-E. People spell it B-O-K-E-H, but I guess it's a Japanese word, so B-O-K-E-I. That kind of thing.
Makes sense that it would be a Japanese word. You ever see a Japanese man take a picture?
They're so fast.
They're so good at it.
Yeah. I'm gonna put in the homework an Instagram photographer you guys should check out.
Ooh, I'd be interested.
Who does these really sick photos? He does them all over the place, but he's from Japan. What's his name? Junya, not Takahashi. That's a different person. Junya something. He's super good, dude. I saw his photography from Tim Ferriss, who shared it, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Tim Ferriss knows his stuff.
He knows his stuff. He's into cool stuff.
He likes cool stuff. Yeah.
So, yeah, I really would love that though, to have a camera that would allow that, and then to have like a set where there's like some cool little like features like that. Yeah, it would be cool to set that kind of thing up, even just for fun.
Yeah.
I actually have to ask you about something unrelated to this podcast after this.
Sure. Do you need to write it down or something?
I probably do, but I don't have anywhere to do that on. I guess I could do it in my notebook over there. I'll just remember.
Sure.
Or I'll forget and I'll watch this back later.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, you will watch it back later. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good strategy.
So,
do you want to do?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you had a book recommendation, you said?
Yeah. Do we want to do that first?
Sure.
Okay, I'll do that. So this one's called The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. You may have heard of the series Discworld. That's a famous series. The Color of Magic is the first book in that series.
Okay.
And it you know what? It does surprises. Connecting back to our last episode, it does surprises in a way that you would never expect.
Wow, it surprises you with
It surprises you with surprise. Because it allows itself to be unraveled at points, and just like the things that there is literal Deus Ex Machina in this book.
Oh, machine of the gods.
Yeah, there is a literal goddess who shows up and is like, "Hey, I'm saving you. Here it is."
Wow. Okay.
And it happens.
Yeah.
But at the same time, every crazy, insane surprise that happens, number one, it feels okay because it isn't that big of a difference. Like the goddess shows up and she's like, "Hey, I'm saving you," sort of, kinda. You have one shot. Here's how you're. I'll let you know when it's your moment, but this is it. Like that's all I'm going to be able to do for you.
Do not miss your chance to.
But then like the characters do all this stuff, so it doesn't do anything that makes the story like. It doesn't like advance the story or like complete the quest or anything like that. However, there's also no quest. This is a book that puts basically, just imagine an average, like kind of grumpy British man.
Okay.
I'm not saying British people are grumpy, but imagine a grumpy one.
Okay.
He's like a little grumpy, a little jaded with the world.
Sure.
But also very insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, because he feels like he has not lived up to his potential.
Okay. Sounds like he's being played by that guy who's in all those British movies.
He's going to be Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg.
He's absolutely
Simon Pegg.
Every
character Simon Pegg.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like was Simon Pegg in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie that people didn't like?
I never saw it. I don't know.
I feel like he might have been, in which case this is the same character basically.
Gotcha.
Because
I can just think of Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also the same setup though. It's like this guy, he's technically not just your average person. He's technically a wizard.
Oh.
But just read the book and you'll see why I'm saying technically.
Technically as a wizard, technically. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only technically. And he gets into these insane situations and he doesn't want any of it. He didn't want this.
Oh man! Oh, that's so cool. It's like what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word for that. Unwanting, not unwanting, but like.
I don't know the word.
I don't know what
you're talking about.
All right.
This isn't a linguistics podcast. We don't do that.
Yeah, we don't. No, yeah, not a linguistics podcast.
Never.
I'll remember it later and I'll yell it at you when I remember.
That sounds like a plan.
Cool. Right. Anyway, continue.
That actually would be a good segue as well.
Yeah, it would.
So listen though. Listen.
Yeah.
It is this. Is it a masterpiece? I don't know if it's a masterpiece. It's like a collection of stories that all tie together, that move, like this person who like doesn't want any of this stuff. He doesn't change that by the end of it. He's not like, I'm an adventurer now and I, need to do this adventure. He's like, God, I wish this would just end. And when death comes to him and is like, I will end it, he's like, no.
Ooh, I thought about it.
No.
I thought about it, but
no, I don't want this all to end. I was just hoping to like sit at home and maybe have a drink That's what I was kind of hoping for. And it's brilliant. It's great. It really is. I would highly recommend this book. You can check it out. Not too long of a read. It's like a couple hundred pages in the format, like 260 pages in the format that I got, which was a small book format too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not too long of a read. It took me a while. I'm a slow reader, actually.
Me too. I'm a pretty slow reader. That's why I like audiobooks.
Yeah,
because I'm a slow reader.
I think the audiobook version, is pretty good of it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe check that out. Haven't listened to it myself, but check it out. It's a good one. But I guess it makes me think like. Yeah, it gives me those real vibes of like just stick a real person in here, have zany stuff happen to them. It's crazy, all this stuff.
Wacky adventures, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just like it's a comedy, generally I would say. It's like
Hitchiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Exactly, yeah. So if you've read that and enjoyed it, and you want that but magic instead of space, here you kind of are.
Yeah, you talked about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy enough times to me that I did read it.
Yeah.
Finally.
Did you read it or listen to it?
Oh, I listened to it. It's actually narrated by Stephen Fry. So
yes.
It's pretty great.
Very good.
Book. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Stephen Fry is a really good narrator because
he is.
I had also gotten like a small, brief, brief as in like it's only like 20 something hours of Greek mythos.
Oh yeah.
He just
I think he wrote that book.
Yes, yeah. He handpicked his favorite story, so it's not like all of them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's like some of his favorite Greek stories, and he just kind of goes through it. I did that though because I wasn't very familiar with most of those, but now I am more familiar with all of them. I guess.
Yeah.
But Stephen Fry's a great narrator. V for Vendetta was one of my favorite movies growing up. And he's just an all-around great guy. He's a good actor, good narrator. Stephen Fry's a good guy.
Very sexual. Yeah. Very hot sexual kind of.
Really hot. Just amazing hot guy,
Yeah.
So anyway.
So
if you like, we can transition here now into.
This is a good time.
Talking about creating NPCs for a D&D game. That's kind of what we thought about talking about today was.
Yes.
Just going over NPC creation. So what I do, generally, there are two types of NPCs, I think. And probably more, but the two that I can think of off the top of my head is NPCs that you have prepared and NPCs that you make on the spot.
Right.
As they're needed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
And the on-the-spot ones we did talk about a little bit. You're going to have to go back in our archives, guys, and figure out when we talked about Watch Dogs Legion.
Yes, we did talk about
because we talked about how kind of that design can work, where they don't need to be fully filled out because you just make them on the spot. But let's talk about some things that you do when you make up one of those NPCs. You start with something about them, probably a function that they're filling.
Right. Yeah. Like you think if you're story oriented like I am, you think, what is the narrative purpose of this person?
Why am I introducing them to this person? Because they can't meet everybody in the world.
Right. Right.
So why this one?
Yeah. Why is this person? Why is it important for this person to meet the adventuring party? Right. So with the adventuring party that I created in Cataclysmic Rift, I saw them as sort of like a reflecting off point, or almost like a way for you guys to bounce your characters off of something. I wanted them to reflect you guys,
right?
Because again, I've mentioned this before. We have some fairly new D&D players in our party, just a couple. But I wanted them in particular to be able to just see what an adventuring party is like,
what they're capable of, what kind of what their goals kind of are. Like those are good examples of how they fit into the world.
Right.
Like what kind of things do you do?
Yes, how they fit into the world is kind of exactly what I was going for there. And then, just throw a couple of them in there every once in a while. You guys run into them sometimes.
Yep.
And then, that's all it is. And maybe they'll help you with some stuff sometimes if you ask.
Maybe we'll touch butts.
Maybe. I mean, everybody seems to be interested in Ember. Everybody's fighting to get in a relationship with Ember.
Liam's not actually interested in Ember.
No, Austin is.
Yeah, I think she's a cutie. Actually, no, I don't like her.
No, you don't like her that much?
No, I don't like her voice. Like, I don't like her accent, her particular.
Oh yeah. How do I do it?
It's like a little New Yorkie.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hi everybody, this is Ember. She just kind of sounds like this, I think.
No, she's got a little New York in her.
I don't know. Do I really? I'm pretty sure this is how she sounds. I just kind of talk like this here.
No, there's something about her that I'm just like, no, I'll pass.
Maybe it's just because you're hearing it, like
through you.
Yeah, like in person here.
Yeah.
And yeah, because this is all I do when I talk like Ember. This is it. This is the one. I'm not very good at girl voices.
No. Well, I mean, no guy's good at girl voices. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, there's a narrative telephone that came out recently. That's a game that do you know about narrative telephone?
Yeah.
And they had all the girls try to do their best, like really deep voice. I think that the one with the most trouble was probably Laura Bailey.
Oh yeah, well, because she's good at the squeaky little girl voice. If she wants to do that one, so
right.
Yep, that would make sense.
It was actually really funny because everybody was saying she sounded like Shin-chan. I've never really seen Shin-chan, but I get the picture, I think, from her attempt. Anyway, NPCs fitting into the world.
So they start with a function.
Yep.
And then you can come up with other stuff. Now, based on where you find them, they'll probably have a name that fits in with their surroundings. Or like if you realize that their function should take them elsewhere and this isn't where they're from, you figure out where they're from. Like, so I guess they have a function, they have an origin.
Yeah, an origin, yeah.
They have then like a name, or like, gender or all those sorts of things that you could ask, like that you could describe visually, like hair and eyes and
age,
stuff like that. Yeah.
Too,
species and all those sorts of things. So that's when all that stuff comes about. Honestly, just have tables for all that stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
For names, a nice trick is to just have a way to generate the names syllable by syllable or something along those lines. If you want them to sound like just fantasy words.
Yeah.
Or you can. So I think most languages, the people. It's a linguistics podcast now.
Oh no!
Have tried to list out all the phonemes in that language, and a phoneme is like the smallest amount of sound. So anything that makes a sound. But they've also listed out all of the complete syllables, which have a different name that I can't remember right now. And so you can actually find for a language a full list of syllables that are possible in that language, generally. Some are easier than others, like Mandarin Chinese. Has a very limited number of them. Even with all four tones, it's only in the hundreds. It's not in the thousands or anything.
And some languages are in the thousands,
I believe. Yes.
Makes sense.
But so you could copy like a real world language and just be like, all right, these are the possible sounds. Let's throw them in a random order. here's what it comes out as.
Right, exactly. And honestly, I think most people just have like a vague understanding of what a name in a certain, like from a certain place
would sound
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could just look up a random word from that place or stuff like that too. All good, all strategies.
You could use a specific word from that language.
Yep.
I've done that a lot. Ember's name, actually, Ember comes from English. And that is...
You don't say.
Yeah. You see it.
What's in English for, though?
It's like, when you make a fire, like a bonfire or a campfire, there are those like little, not quite coals, but what's the word for them?
Like little fiery things.
Little fiery things.
Like little like fiery, like how do you describe that? It's like a little like doesn't matter.
Like a little smoldering thing. Yeah.
It's not a linguistics podcast. We'll never know.
But in English, those are called embers.
That's a good word for it.
I like that name a lot. I like the name Ember a lot. Anyway, but I did the same kind of thing for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I named my character. I just took his actual name and then like transliterated it, basically.
And some names have what's the word? Like equivalents in other languages too.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some obvious ones, like Thomas in Spanish is Tomás.
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff like that. But sometimes the same name, like technically the same name in a different language, sounds pretty different in a lot of instances too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like how Johann and John sound different because Johann is, Johann adds a syllable basically.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Jonathan, Johannes, maybe I think are I don't know if those are actually equivalent, come to think of it, but I think that they are, or at least
they're roughly
considered. Yeah, they're considered to be roughly.
Yeah, there's I might have talked about this before, but there's actually a site that you can use to find the origins of names. I'm gonna try looking it up. Whoops.
Do you use behind the name for that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have we talked about that on the show?
Nope, not on the show.
No. Okay.
Yeah, you should definitely go there because you can generate names.
Yes.
Of all sorts of different linguistic backgrounds and even like mythological backgrounds.
Yes, yeah, it's a great site. I've actually used it quite a bit for creating names, and some or like you don't have to do any of that.
The other thing is, remember that in the DMG there are tables with names.
There are tables with names,
maybe even in the player handbook. I can't remember, but
and rolling on those tables can give you some of the best names. I mean, like to me, Scanlan Shorthalt is such a great character name.
Is that one of those?
Yeah,
one of the default names.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Sam Riegel rolled randomly on a table for his name in the DMG, and
cool.
Came out with Scanlan Shorthalt. I think it was in the DMG. I'm not sure.
By the way, the best last name for a D&D character?
Yeah.
Long Shorts.
Long Shorts.
Can we just talk about that real quick?
What about Stonejaw Strongjaw? What do you think about that name? That is Grog's actual father's actual name from the actual Critical Role campaign one. Stonejaw Strongjaw.
I do. I like Brock Rock or stuff like that. Rock Stoneseeker.
Rock Pebbles. Rock Flintstone. There we go.
Ooh.
That actually doesn't sound terrible.
Now it does.
It does.
It just sounds like it would be one of their pets, though. Like they'd get a pet rock on the Flintstones and they'd name it Rock Flintstone.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
Rock Rubble. There we go.
That's a That's actually better. Yeah, they'd be like, "Hey, meet our new pet," and
Rock Rubble.
the episode would be like about how Fred Flintstone goes like out back and like kills their pet rock during the middle of the night, and like tries to hide the murder and like blames Betty on it, or blames it on Betty, and like Barney and Betty like have a fight, and then they find like that there were actually a bunch of rocks in the basement that Bam Bam had down there, and like freaking like
I forgot how weird the plot of the live action movie was.
What?
You were describing,
we can't talk. We can't. Was it?
You were describing the plot of the live action movie, right?
Yeah.
Did you forget that they had a live action Flintstones?
No, I remembered that they had it. I just don't. My memories of it are so vague, though.
Me too. I remember like. I mean,
I remember seeing it and being like, this isn't connecting with me.
Right, exactly.
I'm not going to remember this when I'm older.
It came out of nowhere in my brain just now.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get on to maybe generating NPCs who are important.
Okay. Like really important?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are we talking like kings, rulers?
Well, rulers are only technical. I mean, actually, I guess you still do it the same way.
Yeah.
You start with their function.
Right.
Like, why are they meeting this character?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, come to think of it, it's all the same.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you draw inspiration from creating NPCs?
All over the place.
That's the most basic answer I could have ever expected.
Well, I could elaborate if you'd like.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Other media. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Books, TV shows, and then I just put my own spin on it.
Yep.
There's a character that I created whose inspiration was anime like Full Metal Alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other characters that I've created. I mean, Ember is basically Naruto, but not as intense.
Yeah.
In her own way.
Yeah. Well, and the personality can be different too.
Yeah.
Like that can be one thing that you draw from a source, interests from another source, or what I think is just like make up something that they're interested in,
right,
and then learn about that thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Like just be like, all right, they like this. I'll learn some lingo. I'll watch some YouTube videos about that topic. Not only is that a great reason to learn more about a topic that maybe you wanted to learn about but haven't got to yet, or maybe it was just random and you're like, hey, it couldn't hurt to know about this, right?
And it helps with immersion, I think, too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because they would be knowledgeable about that thing,
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that you don't need to spend all your time on that, but if it catches your interest, then do it. It's going to make a better character, a more memorable character. Like if one of your characters, like I'm into surfing, even though I've only surfed once, but now like I've done it and I think it's cool. Now I'm interested. So I'm like, if I have a chance to explore stuff that it has to do with surfing, I'm going to explore it. So yeah, I'm probably going to make a character who wants to surf or like does surf. They freak, that kind of thing. And there's going to be like a whole deal with all these people surfing. And we're going to meet somebody who surfs because it's important to meet this person. It just gives me an excuse to put this thing that I like into the campaign.
Yeah, and you can marry some of your interests too.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe they like to surf, and also there's something about the setting that makes surfing different.
Exactly. Yeah. Like for instance, maybe they surf, but it's like it could be done for even a magical reason too. Like it could be part of learning magic is you have to do this ritual on this, piece of wood out in the water.
Yeah, it could be like,
and it like connects you with something,
Yeah, I just off the top of my head, I'm thinking like maybe it's a druid thing,
Mhm.
and that's how they connect with nature
Mhm.
in their druidic circle.
And then it could also be so. Yeah, I like when authors do this in their books. I've seen some who research really far into a topic, and then they sprinkle that throughout a book, and it's really immersive. First of all,
Yeah,
it like feels it's really cool. But also, like, you come out of it and you're like, wow, that was a fiction book, but now I know about the Aleuts and like how they did this. Essentially, they surfed on these boats, like canoes almost, across the like Aleutian Peninsula, like that whole area of Alaska, and they could go at tremendous speed by catching the gigantic mid-ocean waves. And now I know that from reading a book about nothing to do with that.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
I never heard of anything like that before.
Right.
So,
And it was an important thing to this book because it was set up that way. Like,
yeah,
it was almost like the author was like, hey, I like this. Like, I have some knowledge about this. I want to research some more into it, and I will put it in this book. I'm going to do it.
Right. And I think that kind of comes back to something that we say a lot, which is that the importance of something can come from either direction.
Yep.
So we're basically encouraging anybody to take something you're interested in and make it important in the story.
Mm-hmm.
You can figure out why along the way. It doesn't have to be completely clear why it's important, but if you think it's cool, make it important.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason is that you like it and you think it's cool and you want to know more about it and you want to put it in your story. Yeah.
If you want, you can add mechanics to it. I like season 3 of the Adventure Zone, the Adventure Zone Graduation.
I thought you were going to say something like season 3 of Fortnite. Anyway, continue.
Is there season 3 of Fortnite?
I don't know what season they're on. I don't play Fortnite.
That makes 2 of us. All right. So anyway, no, what I like about it is that Travis added some new skills that you can roll on.
Oh, cool.
Because they fit like the setting of your characters are henchmen, or sidekicks. So they can roll for supporting people. They can roll for encouragement. They can roll.
Okay. Yeah, kind of like the help action, but a little bit more involved.
Right. Exactly. So he like added more abilities to like do things with those actions by adding some mechanics to it. So that's a cool thing that you can do when you're thinking about your new NPCs. Is like, maybe they can, because here's the thing I've been interested in.
Okay.
Gandalf in Lord of the Rings.
He was.
Yeah. He does magic. Like magical magic in Lord of the everyone there is like, wow, you do magic. When does he ever use his magic to advance the story? He does. Twice, I believe. At most. But it's just like when Gandalf the White comes back and he kind of like generally is like, we're going to fight. And everyone's like, yeah! And it like pumps him up somehow. Like, he uses it then. But it's not really him using the magic that advances the story. It's the fact that he was sent back as Gandalf the White that advanced the story. Okay. And the magic just happens because he, that's how Gandalf the White do it.
Yeah. He do be like that.
But he uses magic very frequently in ways that don't have anything to do with the story. And there are different types of magic in Lord of the Rings too. It's like there are different types of magic in general, I should say, because it's not just Lord of the Rings. There's the type of magic where there are mechanics that are known, or even if they're not known, they're rigid and they affect the world in a certain way. You put in this input, it does this magical output. And then there's the like mysterious type of magic that doesn't need to do that, you know? So having your NPCs have abilities or things like that like nobody else does, that's totally fine. You can do that.
Oh,
that's called homebrew, and we approve of homebrew on this podcast.
Gets our stamp of approval for sure.
Yeah.
I think homebrew's great.
But also, you know how to use it then, because you just look at the example of Gandalf. He can put on a cool fireworks show with magic. That's totally fine. But he can't just solve all the problems with it. His magic doesn't do that. It's not like it's not applicable to that. He can't even try to use his magic on Sauron to just like solve all the problems, because the ring is a thing that corrupts his like being, Gandalf's being.
Right.
Like his magic doesn't stop it. It's like doesn't interact. It's like a separate thing. So no matter how powerful of a wizard he is, it doesn't do anything to the main plot, if that makes sense.
Right. And I think that with especially with like a soft magic system like that, where the rules aren't completely defined, that's great. And I think that that's nice, because if you make it a soft magic system like that, like you said, if you accidentally made it too good or not good enough, it's easier to balance that way.
That's true too. Because you can always be like, oh, well, I don't know why that happened that one time.
Yeah, like it's not really explained. Yeah, like nobody knows why.
Just careful not to use them as like an escape route for your players all the time, and stuff like that. But
there are ways to use Deus Ex Machina properly, but it's not something to
definitely
be
not that. It's definitely not bringing Gandalf at the last second. And he, and just is like, oh, by the way, I can just teleport you out of here. Let's just do that now.
Right, exactly. Because that's not fun. To have somebody just come in and save the party every time they're in trouble. That's not fun.
No.
The party's the one that's supposed to do the saving, and that's cool. If there's like another group of adventurers and they're like on their last ropes, and the party comes in to save them right at the last minute,
then again,
that's cool.
Having the party be knocked down and having somebody come in at the last second and save them, that's not always even a bad thing.
That's not always a bad thing.
It's just bad if it doesn't feel earned.
Right.
Like if in Critical Role there's like an evil adventuring party who follows the main party right now.
Oh, right now?
Yeah, yes. Right now.
Yes, sort of. Yeah, they're kind of, anyway.
Or whatever. I don't know what their deal is.
No, you're right. There's like an adventuring party that's bad.
Yeah. If they came in and saved the good guys because they need their information or what their what they have or whatever.
Yeah.
That would totally feel earned, because they know that these people are following them and trying to not accomplish the same goal, actually accomplish the opposite goal, trying to foil them.
Yes.
But it would be totally fine if they came in and like saved them, and then we're like, we're saving you, I guess, but don't worry, this is temporary. You're like, the fact that we saved you means that your time is up. That's one way to do it, but there are even other ways to make it feel earned.
Another way that they do it in Critical Role sometimes is Matt will bring out some kind of encounter, and then halfway through, a bigger, worse, scarier thing will come in.
Yeah.
And all the lesser things run away.
Yeah. And then that's your cue to maybe get out of there, or I guess you can fight it if you want.
Right. That's not necessarily saving, I guess, but it's just switches it up a bit.
Right. Yeah. And if you're already struggling against the small things, then now you're in bigger trouble.
Right.
But if you were not, they drained your resources a little bit, and now this bigger thing is a tougher encounter too.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing to do.
Right. Exactly. Because you never know what you might run into.
Yeah.
Other Deus Ex Machina. I don't know, like maybe.
Yeah, I feel like we wanted to talk about NPCs, but it wasn't. There's like nothing there to talk about. You just make whatever. It's fine.
I think we obviously we weren't exhaustive, but we But I think that we've said everything that you need to know about creating an NPC, because we can't tell them like, okay, here's how if you want a wise person, then you want to build a wizard.
Yeah, I guess there is another thing, and that is that some people really like building backstories and things a little bit more. Now,
yeah, sure.
If you like to do that, that's fine. As a DM, it's way harder. It's way harder.
Yeah.
Like if you know this person's genealogy back a few generations and how it's connected to these other people, you're gonna have trouble with that.
More power to you. There's some resources that you can use to track that kind of stuff, but that's a lot of work.
It is. So you're gonna have trouble with it, unless you're one of the people who plays D&D online professionally or something. In which case, yeah, you could probably do that.
Right.
Just be careful following their examples, because if you're a hobbyist player, I can't believe I'm saying hobbyist D&D player, but you know what I'm talking about. If you don't have the same amount of time to put into it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like they're professional D&D players.
This is a place to skimp on the details.
Yeah.
Right, with the NPCs, because they fulfill a function primarily. That's their number one thing. Beyond that, the rest of the stuff is less important.
Right. And if you didn't make up a detail that somehow becomes relevant and you suddenly need one, there's nothing wrong with just making it up on the spot and then writing it down and then just trying to maybe flesh it out later, or maybe not.
Or not writing it down and retconning it later by accident.
Yeah, retcon.
That's how I usually.
Yeah, just retcon it. I mean, who cares? It's D&D.
Yeah.
But and honestly, most people won't notice. Like your players might not ever notice. Probably will never notice if you change a detail depending on how important it is.
And if they do, you can like let them. I don't know.
Yeah, fine. Just be like,
oh well, I realized it probably should have been like this, so I just made it.
So I just made it like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I've made mistakes like that, and I've been like, oh, actually, I guess it should be this way.
Patch notes,
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
As a programmer who has developed programs where I've had that happen and been like, yeah, I guess I should have made it like this. Sometimes you're like, I'll leave it. But a lot of the time you're like, all right, I'm going to do it.
I gotta fix it. Yeah, I just gotta fix it. Right. Yeah. You might get into trouble with yourself if it's like, if you've set up some kind of plot, but then contradicted yourself with it.
Right.
But if it's like about the way the bartering system works or something like that, maybe it's fine to leave it alone. Like, don't even worry
especially
about it.
If it's something like trying out mechanics or things like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, ooh, we didn't like this. Did you guys like this? I didn't like this.
Yeah.
And then your players are like, we didn't like it. That's easy to change.
Yeah. Then just
right?
Scrap it. Yeah.
You're allowed to try these things and then get feedback from your players and be like, well, that wasn't good. I'm going to try something a little different next time. Maybe because maybe you wanted it to be good. You wanted to like it. You could try something a little different. But then if it's not working, it's okay.
Yeah. Then just scrap it. Like it, you don't have to force things to work. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway. Do we have any homebrew?
We do.
A little bit of homebrew today.
We can do the same thing as last time if you like.
Yes, that sounds good to me.
So we're at for the items that I made. We're at my 3 favorite.
Oh.
And I realized that you told me not to tell you about the one that's for Liam, but I think I accidentally already did. But I don't think you noticed.
I might have noticed.
Maybe you noticed. I don't know. But
I don't know if I noticed.
But I didn't feel like it was obvious. So
we'll see.
We'll see, I guess. So my bad. But I guess it's possible that I didn't talk about it. Anyway. I'm going to talk about one of those, and then I'll talk about. I'll get a different one. Okay. I don't know which one I want to talk about next. I'll talk about that one last. I'll talk about this one next. Okay, so this is an item that in its dormant form makes your armor class 12 plus your dexterity modifier.
Oh. That wouldn't be good. Well, it'd be pretty good for Liam. I think his dexterity is one of his higher stats.
And I don't think I didn't put this on here, but you can't wear armor with this. Or put another way, this counts as armor.
Should it have been?
You got me. And one of your ability scores that I won't be specific with increases by 2.
Oh, you won't be specific with it because that gives away who it should belong to.
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
It could actually belong to, well, I guess really if you boil it down, it probably would belong to only 2 different characters potentially, but yeah, I would give it away. When it's awakened, your armor class becomes 14 plus your dexterity modifier.
That's pretty good.
That could be up to 17 depending on your dexterity modifier. And that's without armor, but you can't wear armor, so it just becomes 17. But your charisma score increases by 4.
Wait, can't that be up to 19 though?
I said it.
You can get a +5.
I said it out loud. Did you not hear what I said? Never mind. I said what the ability score was.
No, it's okay. I'll hear it later.
Okay, yeah, you'll hear it. Oh, yeah, you'll hear it. That's right.
I don't need to listen to you.
That's true. 19?
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, yeah, 14 plus 5 would be 19. Yeah, 17 for previous.
For the first one, yeah. 19's pretty good.
That's pretty dang good as far as armor class goes. I don't think many things can get your armor class above a 19. I think 19 is like the theoretical maximum for most mundane armor. Or is the maximum for most mundane armor. Also,
yes,
if you become the target of a spell attack and it misses your armor class by 5 or more, then that spell is reflected back at the person who cast it.
This should be a cod piece. I'm just like I need it to be because it needs to like absorb this. Calm down. Absorb the spell and reflect it back. I'll edit that.
You sure?
It needs to do this.
I think I might have. Oh, that's the.
It's like
the wrong thing.
It has like a little mouth on it that like
just eats it.
Spell.
It just like eats it and shoots it, spits it back.
Yeah.
God piece. Okay, Exalted. What about if your armor class was 16 plus your dexterity modifier? What?
That'd be pretty good.
That could be what, 21?
21.
That's a crazy armor class. Also, your ability score that you'll know later because I said it.
Yep.
Increases by 6. And if you become the target of a spell attack and it misses by 3 or more, that's a pretty likely thing to happen.
No. Okay.
That's okay.
Yep.
By 3 or more, reflected back at the caster. And if you're the target of a spell saving throw, and you roll a natural 20 on your D20, then the effect of the spell is reflected back on the caster as well.
Oh.
So like if you roll a saving throw and you roll a natural 20, then the person who cast that spell becomes affected by it.
That becomes really dangerous with like AoEs. I mean, I guess if multiple people had this kind of thing or things like that.
There's only one.
But yeah. How do you know?
Because I'm making all of this.
You're not the DM.
I am.
You don't decide stuff.
I am the DM. I do decide those things.
Well, says who?
Spoilers, there's only one? I don't know.
What else we got?
Okay, this is by user Death546.
That's a sweet username. Wait, 546. Why is it 546? I wonder.
546? I don't know.
546. Why?
Maybe their birthday's on May 46th.
That would explain it.
Yeah. It's obvious now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an item called a Death Blossom.
Okay.
It requires attunement.
Okay.
So you get a +2 bonus to Constitution to a maximum of 20.
Mm-hmm.
And you can expend one of your hit dice.
Right.
To deal 1d6 extra necrotic damage when you hit with a weapon attack.
Ooh. Oh. Well.
Let me tell you.
That's a nice trade-off.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you use? I mean, I know you use them for healing. What else do you use them for, though? Like,
I think if you
that's
lose,
very interesting.
If you lose all of your, there's a thing where like if you lose all of your hit dice, then you die. Your character.
Oh.
Or maybe there's just there's something about that. There's something about your hit dice where if they're like all gone, something weird can happen that involves death.
Yeah.
So this is a black flower that attaches to you like a parasite.
That's what it would seem like based on the name.
So that's what it is.
Can you put it on wherever you want?
You have to attune to it. Oh, can you put it wherever you want? I would assume so. Hold on. Over your heart. No, it has to go over your heart.
Oh, okay. Can you put your heart wherever you want?
Some creatures can, I'm sure.
Cool.
Do you think that shapeshifters can do that?
Yeah, I guess they can. No, maybe they can't. Because they can't change their arrangement of their limbs. That's easier than the heart,
than your organs.
Yeah.
This does another thing, too.
Change this. Yeah, I don't know how this works with them. Anyway.
If you drop to 0 hit points, you can use the blossom to defend yourself. To defend your body. Okay, so you can choose to suffer 1 failed death saving throw to deal 10d6 necrotic damage to each creature within a 10-foot cube of your unconscious body. But you can only use it once every dusk. That's interesting. I like that.
I feel like it's not enough. Because how often is that person going to be within 10 hit points of, of losing it when they're coming to kick your corpse to death, right? Like
within 10d6.
Oh, 10d6?
Necrotic damage.
Oh, I missed the d6 part.
Yes.
10d6 is a lot. Okay, that's probably powerful enough.
10d6 is what, an average of 30? More than 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
On average, yeah.
Yep.
It'd be like 35?
Something like that.
No. Well, whatever.
Like 80? 85 damage, maybe?
Yeah. 10d6? Yeah.
It depends on how many d6s you use when you roll.
And it depends which d6 you use, like how many sides it has.
Like how many sides it has.
Yeah. Yeah.
It all just depends.
It really just depends.
You never know how many you're really going to roll. It's all about fate, really.
I bought a bunch of new dice. I have 10d6 now.
Yeah. I think I do as well, because I got a huge bag of dice.
Yeah, you have that huge bag.
And I have other ones too, though. I have fancy.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But I haven't really used.
Oh, maybe I haven't seen that.
Because I don't mix them up with these ones.
Right.
But I really could. But they all have their own little pouches, so I don't want to mix them up.
The dice that I purchased recently did not come with pouches. I'm gonna have to get some because I don't want to lose those things. They're nice. Yeah. They're nice dice.
I think you might be better off not having separate pouches, though. You might be better off having a big thing. Because otherwise, if you put them in separate pouches, well, those ones are distinct enough maybe that you can separate them back out. Like these ones, I will forget which ones were supposed to go in the separate things, I think.
None of them really look. Well, there are 2 sets of metal dice that I probably wouldn't mix with the non-metal dice.
What about this?
Okay.
No, well, okay, so this is maybe not for everybody, but what about using dice that are non-standard D&D counts? Like I know of 61-sided dice and some other, weird counts like 101 or things like that. A 101-sided die is basically a ball.
Yeah.
And it will just roll for a long time.
Okay.
And eventually, if you're careful enough, it will stop.
It's like
on one of its very small sides.
I'm imagining a golf ball, basically, but bigger.
Yeah, similar to that. No, they're not. I mean, they're whatever size you want, but yeah, you need it to be kind of big in order to stop on the side.
Work. Yeah.
Yeah. It's less than a golf. Like, it's not as many faces as a golf ball kind of has. So it wouldn't be as bad as a golf ball, but yeah, those exist to some extent. I don't know if you can buy them right now, for instance, but or even using there are D6s that are balanced differently for different things. Look, we can talk about this later if you want, but
balanced differently, like they're more likely to end up on a side,
like their faces are a different order.
Oh,
and things like that.
Okay, yeah, because
and as a set, it produces different results than the average dice.
Yes, I think that a standard D20 is oriented in a consistent way. Like they have a consistent number pattern, but they also make D20s that, and they're specifically labeled this way, that spiral, where there's one on the one side and then the numbers spiral in ascending order around it up to 20 on the other side, which is not how most D20s are, which is interesting. But I think that it's like that so that you can't like really fudge anything.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. But using non-standard dice, like, so I don't know why even rolling the dice is fun. I guess it's because it's random and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. There's a fun thing about it.
It's like taking a risk. It's a calculated risk.
It's like
gambling.
Guess,
but yeah, a little bit.
So, some people will calculate it, but some people won't.
True.
Like I never even thought about how modifiers affected the odds of things until I started DMing more. And then you kind of have to think about that stuff somewhat.
Yeah. Well, you could also just do it by intuition, and just as you DM more, your intuition gets better.
Yeah. That's probably true. But like, for example,
that's what it all is. Everything is.
Like some people probably don't care to think about any of that stuff and don't worry about it. But there are some players who think about it
a lot.
Like Forrest really thinks about it, I think. Because he's always talking about the chances that he'll hit or something like that if once you guys figure out what the armor class of something is, and all that stuff. So, but you're saying that non-standard dice can affect those things in some way.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it. Yeah, you could have all sorts of fun with that.
Kind of like, is it sort of like in the same way where playing the mirrored version of a stage in Mario Kart kind of helps reset your muscle memory?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it like the same kind of thing where it resets your expectations a bit when you roll non-standard dice?
Yeah.
I really don't understand the purpose of a 101 or a 61-sided die. Like,
they're mathematically there are reasons for them. Mathematically,
there's mathematical significance to them. Okay.
Yeah, like the way that they're set up is like a certain pattern that happens to work out to that many sides.
Okay, so it's almost like a coincidence.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. The other thing about them is that because of the number of sides, so the dice that we use are all of the regular polyhedra, I believe.
Yeah.
So anything with a different number of sides than that is going to have sides that are more likely than others, which is crazy too, right? Like certain numbers are going to be more likely just because they're on a side that is bigger and has a higher chance of being rolled. Because they're not all the same area. They're not all the same surface area.
Okay.
Each side, each face.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because on standard sets of D&D,
there's so many things to account for.
They are.
You'll never. Well, actually, I think they balance them out or something.
Oh, do they?
On the ones that I've seen. Yeah, I don't remember if that's the case. Look, you'll just have to check it out. On I think Numberphile probably is the place where I saw these, or maybe Matt Parker's YouTube channel.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of interesting D4s in particular.
Oh yeah, because you can make those all sorts of ways.
Yeah, there's the standard, obviously, triangle shape that most sets have. I actually don't like that very much.
It's hard to roll. It doesn't get much roll.
Right, exactly.
It just flops.
My preference is the ones that look kind of like a wooden stake, where it's like a square, like 4 sides, and then it's pointed on both ends.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So that it won't obviously land on those sides at all. I think that might be my favorite, but there's also those like they almost look like earring jewelry, like the almost teardrop shape. Where it's a similar concept, right?
Yeah, it'll like roll around sideways.
Right, exactly. I those two I think are my favorites, but I don't have any sets of dice that have those kinds of D4s. But I do like them conceptually. I guess I've never used them, but because
I mean that's like old school dice. We're like that, right? Like that's the old. Yeah.
And people like the triangle better. Or is it just?
Oh, I mean, old school, like biblical old school.
Oh,
old school, like
right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they used those essentially when they were whatever kind of gambling they did, where 3 sides were red and 1 side was blue, and if you got the blue side, you would double your money, but if you got the red side, they would take your money, like that kind of thing.
Yep. That was as simple as gambling was back in the day.
Yep. And it wasn't as highly regulated as it is now. And so a lot of people probably died, but they still do, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
I probably don't die, but I don't know about other people.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Wait a minute, though. But wait, hold on just a second.